Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I pray that you are all well. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we will be having what will be a discussion, inshallah, a very fruitful one, between two brothers. It will be looking at a Sunni and Shia perspective on the topic of the alleged displeasure of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, salamun alayha. As you know, when it comes to the issue of the companions, it is a controversial topic between the two schools of thought, between the Shia school and the Sunni schools of thought. Ample discussion and dialogue and polemics has gone on and on over these issues. Particularly one of the most sensitive topics, which is why we're looking at this today, is the issue of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, salamun alayha, and her displeasure. Obviously, there is a difference of opinion, which we will have the discussion about today. But obviously, if the sort of discussion and dialogue that's happened in the past and in polemics, it's really about, was Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamun alayha angry with any individual prior to her death? And if she was, are there any ramifications thereof? So when it comes to polemics, this is a topic which is very emotive. So we do make it very clear that the intention here is not to harm or upset any individual. In fact, we've got two brothers here from the two camps who are very respectful of one another, who have got very good akhlaq, alhamdulillah. And the intention will be to try to have this dialogue in a respectful and meaningful manner. So inshallah ta'ala, it's not something, we're not here to have some sort of a battle royale where individuals will try to come out victorious. We will inshallah ta'ala leave it to the viewers, to the listeners after the event who are listening, to make their own conclusions. But both the brothers will inshallah ta'ala present their evidences, and we will go from there. We've already in advance agreed the timings, we've agreed the rules of the debate, which inshallah ta'ala I will be keeping an eye on, so all will be fair and done in a correct manner. I will inshallah ta'ala introduce both brothers first. So we have from our Sunni brothers, we have brother Aamir Khan. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
And from the Shia side, we have Sayyid Ali. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid Ali.
Assalamu alaikum.
Now, thank you, brothers, for attending and for agreeing to this debate. I mean, I don't really like to say debate. It's more of a discussion, dialogue, should we say. Now, before I actually go into it, because people might wonder, people have just, for example, come into this. They might know the actual polemics and the background of it. There is a position between the two schools of thought on whether Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamun alayha was angry with individuals and the length of that anger. And I think because the two brothers will be debating this, it might cause confusion if individuals aren't really aware of what is actually being discussed. So I think before we actually go into the debate itself, I will inshallah ta'ala first of all, for the benefit of those listening, I will actually read the specific narration which deals with this topic area, and will thereafter then pass it across to brother Aamir to set out his position, and after that Sayyid Ali will reply, and we will then have specific rounds which will deal with the rebuttals and counter rebuttals. So I'm actually reading the narration itself from the English translation of Sahih al-Bukhari. It is being translated by Dr. Muhammad Mohsin Khan.
Sorry, Sayyid, I didn't want to interrupt you. Maybe Brother Aamir has the tradition himself, so the viewers can read it along with it. Maybe if that's possible, I don't know.
I can. I've got it from Sahih Bukhari, volume 5. The narration is narration 546.
Okay,
Shall I just read it?
I've got the same one as well. You can read it.
Okay, perfect, brother. Thank you. So it is narrated by al-Mu'minin Aisha. Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, sent someone to Abu Bakr, and it says in brackets, when he was a caliph, asking for her inheritance of what Allah's apostle had left of the property bestowed on him by Allah from the faith. The bracket says booty gained without fighting in Medina and Fadak, and what remained of the khums of Khaybar, booty. On that, Abu Bakr said, Allah's Apostle said, our property is not inherited. Whatever we leave is sadaqah, but the family of the Prophet Muhammad can eat of this property. By Allah, I will not make any change in the state of the sadaqah of Allah's Apostle and will leave it as it was during the lifetime of Allah's Apostle, and will dispose of it as Allah's Apostle used to do. So Abu Bakr refused to give anything of that to Fatima. So she became angry with Abu Bakr and kept away from him and did not talk to him until she died. She remained alive for 6 months after the death of the Prophet. When she died, her husband buried her at night without informing Abu Bakr, and he said the funeral prayer by himself. So I think, brothers, essentially it's a much longer tradition, but really, just to make it clear, viewers, this debate is not actually about the topic of Fadak and the inheritance of Sayyidah Fatima salamun alayha, whether there is, etc. That's something in truth, we could go on for hours if it was just on Fadak. This is essentially dealing with a specific aspect. Whether Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamun alayha was indeed angry with the first caliph, and if she was, what are the ramifications thereof? Inshallah ta'ala, obviously we've got brother Aamir, which will be arguing a different position. Sayyid Ali will be arguing a different position. Really, I think that's really the introduction. Brothers, obviously, I don't need to say, we will keep it respectful. And inshallah ta'ala, let's get the dialogue going. Brother Aamir, over to you, please.
All right. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, brother.
Yes.
नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम इन्नल्लाहा व मलाइकतहु युसल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लु अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मद व अला आलि मुहम्मद कमा सल्लैता अला इब्राहिम व अला आलि इब्राहिम इन्नका हमीदुम मजीद. The topic of our discussion today is whether Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam got angry with Sayyiduna Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and asked for inheritance, and whether she deserved it or not is another topic. But the point is whether she got angry or not. In Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the narration about Sayyidah Fatima radiyallahu ta'ala anha getting angry with Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has only come from a narrator called Zuhri, Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. None of the other narrators narrate that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri is the only narrator who has done idraj. This is called, he is a mudraj. Mudraj means that he has interpolated in this hadith. Now there are two types of hadiths. There is a hadith bil mani and hadith bil lafz. Hadith bil mani means that a specific narrator explains the hadith from himself, whereas hadith bil lafz means that the hadith is narrated exactly the way it is. Now, unfortunately, this hadith of Sayyidah Fatima getting angry with Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, it is a hadith bil mani, that it is an interpolation by a sub-narrator in the hadith. It is not a wording of Sayyidah Aisha, it is not the wording of Sayyidina Abu Bakr nor Sayyidah Fatima. It is an interpolation done by Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. Apart from Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, no other narrator in Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah in our Sunni texts have narrated the wording that she got angry. Now we do agree that she did come to Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu to ask for inheritance. We do believe that. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu presented the hadith that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance, and everything they leave behind is to be given in sadaqah. So this is he presented a hadith. Shia's claim that this was only narrated by Abu Bakr, but we have other proofs that Abu Bakr, other Sahaba have also narrated this hadith, that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance. Now, the angry part, as I've already clarified, according to my knowledge, and if Brother Sayyid can correct me on this, and it will be a big revelation for me, that if this part is narrated except from other than Zuhri, Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, that will be a big proof against Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and I will be ready to accept that Sayyidah Fatima, Salamullah alayha, got angry with Sayyiduna Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now, logically speaking, we Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah highly respect the Ahlul Bayt, and we also respect the Sahaba, of course. Logically speaking, Sayyidah could not have gotten angry on a mere piece of land. This is against her high stature, her high virtue, her high esteem, that she got angry on a piece of land. We believe that the Prophets and Ahlul Bayt are people of zuhud. They dedicate their lives to Allah and to Islam, and they do not get angry over properties or wealth or things like that. So logically speaking, this angry part goes against the high stature, high status of Sayyidah Fatima, Salamullah alayha. So this is another point which I'm making in the introduction. So, and the third point which I want to make is that Sayyidah Fatima, Salamullah alayha, asked for fay. Fay are those things which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the Muslim army wins from kuffar in battle without spurring horses. That means that without going into proper battle. So that comes. So Fadak was actually gifted by the Jews to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was a property of the government. The government does not give the properties in inheritance to the children, but that will obviously be, I do not want to deviate from the topic. So I have made my introduction that the narration of Sayyidah Fatima getting angry has only come from Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. No other narrator except from Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri narrates that she got angry. Second point I made, that it is against the status of Sayyidah Fatima that she would get angry on a piece of land, that she would get angry on wealth. This is against the status of Prophets and Ahlul Bayt. And the third point I made is that it was from it was a war booty of fay, and fay is not inherited, and the father cannot give the fay to children. So I would like to conclude my introduction. Maybe I did it quite early, but let's keep it simple. So I would like to hand over the mic to Brother Sayyid thank you.
Thank you very much, brother, and assalamu alaikum to the dear brothers and sisters who've obviously tuned in to listen to today's discussion. So firstly, I would like to thank Brother Aamir for his willingness to debate such a sensitive issue. I've always been impressed by people who are willing to lay the beliefs on the table and say, go ahead, take your best shot. In fact, it was Brother Aamir who brought up this topic himself on a social media platform, where he made a comment about Sayyidah Fatima not dying angry with Abu Bakr. So by him accepting this debate and putting his faith to test in Abu Bakr is a big thing, right? So usually I would not entertain such comments on social media, but since he's a respected person in his community and he's written on a variety of topics, I saw this as a perfect opportunity to have this discussion with this respected person. And therefore, I have to say that I am admirable to his confidence that he has. So, I'm going to give the viewers a heads up. So what we're going to have today is not some sort of tea party. It may get messy. I will try to keep it as respectful as possible. I'm not here to affirm each other's belief, but what I believe is, and I say sincerely and wholeheartedly, I believe Brother Aamir is wrong about the position he has about Abu Bakr. And since I'm unable to have this debate face to face, like I've done in the past with other members of the Sunni community belonging from the Salafi school or from the Sufi school, what I've done is I've made a presentation for the viewers who can, perhaps you could say, embark on a little journey where I will present my evidences not only to Brother Aamir, but the viewers, the brothers and sisters who are tuned in today. And inshallah ta'ala, we will allow the viewers to make their own judgment. So without further ado, I'm going to inshallah present a document which I prepared. If it does freeze, I'm going to open it up using another software. It's just I was facing some technical difficulties before. So if you just bear with me a minute. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
So the first element is when we discuss the lives and roles of the Sahaba, what we do find is that within Sunni scholarship, there is a form of censorship. And what I mean by this is generally when you were to approach a brother, a Sunni brother or sister to discuss the biographies or certain incidences of Sahaba, they will tend to avoid such discussions, or they will say you shouldn't ask these type of questions, or you should go and focus on salah, or you should go focus on fasting and so forth. So firstly, I'd like to present a statement from the famous scholar Al-Dhahabi. Now, Dhahabi, in his book Siyar al-Alam Nubala, volume 10, page 92, he talks about this censorship, and let's have a look at what he says. He says, if it was proven that the speech of the companions was based on hate and partisanship, then it would not be acceptable, but it would be folded and not narrated. And it's argued that we must refrain from mentioning a lot of the quarrels between the companions and their fights, may Allah be pleased with them all. And we still find similar writings in the collection and books and episodes. So as Sayyid Hassan mentioned in the start, the tradition of Bukhari, this is a prime example of the disputes that occurred between the Sahaba, something that's often brushed under the carpet. Nevertheless, one thing is for certain, is that when we're discussing these narrations, there can be no shadow of doubt that the general consensus amongst the Muslims is that whatever is recorded in Bukhari and Muslim is Sahih. However, I will not be only focusing on Bukhari and Muslim, and we will get to the crux of the argument, and that is whether or not Sayyidah Fatima Salamu alayha died angry with Abu Bakr. So I present the front cover for the viewers. I've presented the scan, so the viewers can always go back and have a look, inshallah. Now, the question about whether or not Sayyidah Fatima Salamu alayha died angry has not only been narrated in Bukhari and Muslim. In fact, once again, Al-Dhahabi, if you refer to Shuaib al-Arnoud's footnotes in Siyar al-Alam Nubla in the volume of the Khalifas, page 34, he mentions exactly the same passage. So she, Fatima Salamu alayha, became angry and left Abu Bakr until she passed away. And it's recorded in Ahmad ibn Hanbal, it's recorded in Bukhari in numerous places, it's recorded in Muslim in numerous places, Sunan Abu Dawud in numerous places, and Sunan Nasai, and so forth. So as you can see, this tradition has been reoccurring, and authors generally had no issues in narrating this. Now, bear this in mind of what I mentioned earlier at the start. We have this form of self-censorship. So this self-censorship could be from the author himself, where we can give examples where certain authors have distorted certain traditions because they do not find them suitable to narrate them. Or it can even be from the narrator himself. So there could be a narrator who has a natural position towards a certain personality who they respect. So they'll be very selective in terms of what they narrate. So we'll continue, inshallah. So this tradition has been narrated in several Sunni sources. And once again, I've prevented the scan there for the viewers to go back and have a look at. Now, as for the objection of Adraj, and I respect the brother for bringing this argument up, and it's one which we often hear a lot of the times. And to be honest with you, this particular incident about Sayyidah Fatima Salamu alayha dying angry, what we notice is that throughout history, there has been a type of evolution with it. Before there was a time when generally all Muslims used to say, oh, whatever in Bukhari and Muslim is definitely Sahih. And then slowly you had certain, scholars of the past who may have criticized certain traditions, but none of them would generally deny the uniqueness of Bukhari and Muslim. There's no doubt that when it comes to Bukhari and Muslim, the scholars who compiled these traditions, they went through great efforts into ensuring that whatever was recorded in their books of hadith, it was definitely Sahih according to their standards. Now, let's come back to Zuhri. The Prophet said that Zuhri is the one who narrated most of these traditions, if not all of them, about Sayyidah Fatima dying angry. So the particular objection that's raised in this narration is the wording that appears where it says the word Qala. Okay, so Qala meaning he said, meaning the claim is that Zuhri said, as opposed to Qalat. meaning she, Aisha, said. Now, when we talk about idraj, there are actually 4 different types of idraj which have been mentioned in by the scholars of hadith. Al-Suyuti categorized these 4 groups, and he says, number 1, mudraj is the added part of a tradition that came in separately in another narration, number 1. Number 2, the narrators of the narration had said about a certain part of the hadith to be added, mudraj, number 2. Number 3, the Aima meaning the scholars that are well versed on these issues, say explicitly about a part of the hadith being added. Okay, and number 4, the impossibility that the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, could have said this. And this is from the book Tadrib al-Rawi, volume 1, page 315. So these are the 4 particular types of idraj that had been mentioned by the scholars of hadith. But what we find is the particular objection that's raised in reference to this hadith mentioned in Bukhari, which Sayyid Hassan started off at the beginning, and the one brother Aamir mentioned, it doesn't actually fall under these 4 categories of idraj. Nevertheless, if we can...
Can you move the reference up, please?
Sorry?
That's fine, that's fine.
Sorry. Okay, so when we come to... sorry, I apologize. My screen, if it freezes at any time, do let me know. Just if you can follow me, inshallah, you'll see everything on the screen. So these are the 4 groups of, 4 categories of idraj that's been mentioned. Now, what we do know for certain is that there's been many famous books written about idraj. For example, Khatib al-Baghdadi, in his book Al-Mufassal, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani wrote a book called Taqrib al-Manhaj. Suyuti wrote a book called Al-Mudraj, and Abdul Aziz Gomeri wrote a book called Tahsil. So, nevertheless, these are the 4 most famous books written about idraj of certain narrators. You would not find a single book, a single mention of this particular narration in any of these 4 books. And surely, if something was so crucial, something so important, especially to the fact that Sayyidah Fatima alayha dying angry with Abu Bakr, most certainly would have mentioned it in these works. Now, if we continue, the objection that's normally brought up about this particular passage is that Al-Bahiki himself, and I'm sure Brother Aamir at some point will quote this. So inshallah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the nail on the head right now. So Al-Bahiki himself, who was amongst one of the few critics of this particular narration, he says that there was idraj in this report. He does say this. However, what's crucial here is, where did the idraj take place? Now the question is, did it take place from the part where it says Sayyidah Fatima alayha died angry, or did it come after this part in mention to the reference about the bay'ah? One thing which is established is that there was a dispute between Imam Ali alayhi salam, the Bani Hashim, and Abu Bakr, who was chosen as a candidate to lead the Muslims by a small group of people. Later we see, I mean, I don't want to go too much detail about the whole issue about the bay'ah. I think that's a topic for another time. But nevertheless, coming back to the point of Bahiki, what Bahiki says is this. He says in his Sunan al-Kubra, volume 6, page number 490, hadith number 12,732, that Zuhri said Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't give pledge of allegiance for 6 months to Abu Bakr until Fatima died is disconnected. So here, the actual idraj that Bahiki is actually accusing Zuhri of is not in the part that says Sayyidah Fatima alayha died angry with Abu Bakr. In fact, he himself has narrated the very tradition in 12,733 and 12,734, where he that Sayyidah Fatima alayha died angry with Abu Bakr, but he did not comment on those traditions whatsoever. The only thing he commented on was the fact...
Can you move the screen up for the reference, please?
Yeah, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you can see that he himself, when he brought this particular objection up, he was only referencing it to the part regarding the bay'ah. And this can be also confirmed by other scholars who've also commented al-Bahiqi's position about this. And some of them even corrected Bahiki. For example, Alama Aini al-Hanafi, in his famous book, the Qari, mentions that Bahiqi's saying of idraj is reference for the Pledge of Allegiance part. So you can see that even Allama Aini al-Hanafi, in his book Umdat al-Qari, quite explicitly said that the part which talks about the idraj is only in reference to the bay'ah. He does not mention anything about the part about Sayyidah Fatima dying angry, and that's why we find it not even mentioned in famous books of idraj, which I quoted earlier. In fact, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, the famous commentator of Sahih Bukhari, even corrected al-Bayhaqi, and he says that this tradition is mawsul, meaning it's continuous. Okay, and he actually refutes the idea of Bayhaqi by suggesting that this part he actually says it's a continuation in the tradition. Rather, these are not the words of Zuhri. Rather, he's merely continuing with the tradition, and this type of phenomena is not something unusual. And this is from Fath al-Bari, volume 9, page 342. Okay, so inshallah, your viewers are tuning into this, and hopefully you can look into these references after. Now, nevertheless, let's just assume for a minute that this is Adraj of Zuhri. Let's just put the blame game. Everything is on Zuhri's head. This is Zuhri's fault. He's the one who felt the need to disrespect his holy figures in such a way that he had to narrate that Sayyidah Fatima died angry with Abu Bakr, which is a small thing. Mullah Ali Qari, the famous scholar, in his book Marqat al-Mafatihah, he mentions that a mursal, meaning a disconnected report of a tabi, is hujjah among the jumhur of scholars. So, not an issue. Let's just assume that it's adraj of Zuhri. According to the majority of scholars, an adraj of a scholar, of a tabi'i, is accepted. So there's a reference for the viewers to go back and check. And once again, there's a scan and there's the references for the viewers. Now, what's interesting is the variation in reports. Now, in some reports, you find Zuhri using different words, unpleased or angry or dissatisfied, and so forth. This is called Ziyadatul Fiqh, I believe, in hadith terminologies. And this is when a certain narrator uses slight variation in words. This is not, once again, something which is uncommon. In fact, Ibn Salah mentions in his Muqaddamah, page 85, that the majority of jurists and scholars of hadith is as being quoted by Khatib al-Baghdadi, that the addition in a report from a reliable narrator, solely narrated by a trustworthy, either sometimes the narrator quotes in short, or sometimes he quotes in a manner that contains an addition, or an addition is by someone other than the one quoting in short, is acceptable. In other words, a variation in the wording on a hadith does not bring about any change to the circumstances of what's being narrated, and it's accepted by trustworthy narrators. And again, this is the same opinion of Bukhari. Bukhari mentioned this. He says, addition in a report is accepted. And this is page number 362. Once again, there's the viewers can go back and have a look at. And last but not least, Al-Hakim al-Nishaburi mentions himself. He says in his Al-Mustadrak that the addition in a hadith by a trustworthy narrator is accepted. So not only the fact that the mursal of a tabi is accepted by the majority opinion, even if he was to narrate a tradition with slight difference or variation, not an issue, is accepted. Now, what's interesting is what the brother said in the start, in his introduction. He goes, he brought the issue about the fact that this was Zuhri's Adraj. Firstly, I would like to mention that when it comes to Zuhri's Adraj, there's actually about 6 narrations which mention Zuhri's Adraj. And the 2 sub-narrators who have narrated it was a man called Momir and Uqail. These are the 2 sub-narrators who've actually who have narrated this report from Zuhri with the words Qala. Okay. Nevertheless, what's interesting is both Momir and Uqail himself have used the words Qalat. They've actually used the word she said. So this is something interesting. So, for example, Al-Muruzi in his Musnad, Abu Bakr Al-Muruzi, page number 74 to 75, hadith number 38, he actually uses the word she said. So this is the same person who also narrated it with the word Qala, but he's also narrated it with the word Qalat, she said. And this hadith is Sahih, and I've provided once again the scan from Muslim Abu Bakr, and the hadith, the reference is just there. The grading's all there. The viewers can always go back and have a look at these references. Again, the other person who was mentioned in this tradition is Uqail from Ibn Shabab al-Zuhri. Again, we find that this report, he even narrates it continuously. So neither does he have qalat or qala, she said or he said, meaning Zuhri said. He's narrated it continuously. In fact, this continuation report has been narrated by at least 4 other narrators, which I'm not going to read for the viewers today. You can always go back and have a look at these references where these narrations have been narrated continuously without any addition, without any subtraction whatsoever. So I'm just going to scroll down on the screen. I'm not going to bore you with reading all these references. And as I said before, these are the 4 who've read it also in continuation form. So, so far I've covered quite a few different issues, and I'm going to be coming towards the end of my introduction speech. And I liked what Brother Aamir mentioned at the start. He brought a couple of issues up. He brought up the issue about Fadak in itself and how Fadak came into the hands of the Muslims. To be honest with you, that was not the particular discussion today. To discuss that alone, or whether or not Abu Bakr did later distribute distribute sadaqah from that particular land in the way he should have done. That's just a whole separate debate together. And again, whether or not Sayyidah Fatima Salam alayha was being materialistic, this is not a matter of materialism or not. This is a matter of her right. Potentially any person in charge, a king or leader of some kind, if somebody comes to get the share from them and they deny it on the grounds that, look, you shouldn't be so materialistic, would be very unfair judgment. Now, come to the last part. Brother Zuhri said, Brother said that if you can show me a single narration without Zuhri in the chain, this will be a major proof against Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the major proof against Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and that is a narration without Zuhri. So this is taken from the Sahih Sunan al-Tirmidhi, and this hadith is narrated, let me read it to you, narrated Ali ibn Isa from Abdul Wahab, from Ibn Atta, from Muhammad ibn Aamir, from Abi Salama, from Abu Huraira, who said, Fatima came to Abu Bakr and Umar, and she asked to give her inheritance from the Messenger of Allah. They both said, we heard the Messenger of Allah saying, I do not leave any property to be inherited. She said, by Allah, I will not talk to you both forever. And then she died and did not speak with them. The narration is graded Sahih. For example, the famous critic Albani himself has deemed it Sahih. Abu Isa has added, okay, so this is the tradition. Nevertheless, whenever the viewers get a chance, you can have a look. So this is one example of this narration reported on the authority of Abu Huraira, which quite clearly and explicitly states, Sayyidah Fatima died displeased both with Abu Bakr and Umar. And as we know from the famous hadith mentioned in Bukhari, the reference is there, page 1519, 6065, where the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, said that, lo, it's not permissible for any Muslim to desert his brother for more than 3 days. But we know Sayyidah Fatima remained angry with Abu Bakr and Umar till she died. And again, the same tradition mentioned in Sahih Muslim, it's not lawful for a Muslim that he should keep his relations estranged from his brother for more than 3 days. And this tradition is mentioned in Sahih Muslim, page number 1191, hadith number 2559. So what do we conclude? We conclude, viewers, that Bibi Fatima Salam alayha became angry with Abu Bakr and Umar till she died. If Fatima said, by Allah, I will not talk to you again forever, to bear such a grudge for such a long period of time proves that she didn't consider them to be a Muslim, because in Islam it's permissible to be angry with another Muslim for more than 3 days. So this is my conclusion, inshallah. I hope viewers benefited from that. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Aamir bhai, over to you.
Okay, so is this the rebuttal section now?
Yes, we will have a 5-round rebuttal section. So starting with you, Aamir bhai.
All right, okay. Okay, very good response by Brother Sayyid, and he made a lengthy response. But however, my point was that he failed to show a single narration without Zuhri, which says that Sayyidah Fatima got angry. In the end, he showed a narration from Abu Huraira, but he did not quote the next part, that Ali bin Isa himself said that she considered both Abu Bakr and Umar to be truthful. This is why she did not talk to them. She did not stop talking to them like she got angry. She did not talk to them about Fadak itself.
Sorry, brother Aamir. Actually, in the rebuttal round, I was supposed to go first, if you don't mind, if that's okay.
Okay.
Because this is the rebuttal round, I was supposed to go first because the brother started off in the introduction. If you don't mind.
Okay, fine. You can go first.
Sayyid Hassan, are you there with us?
Yeah, okay, fine. Is that
okay, can you just start your timer again? I apologize for that. It should have been me next and then brother Aamir.
Okay, my apologies, brothers.
So, so what I'm going to... Can you hear me? Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to bring up what brother Aamir mentioned. And he said that the part where the narrator Abu Isa mentioned that... okay, let me just, because I have the narration in front of me. I will read it again. This is my rebuttal round, nevertheless. But I just want to quickly respond to the point he made. He said there's a part in the tradition which says, if you just bear with me a minute, I'm going to quickly bring it up. This is okay. So what the brother is doing, if you notice the inconsistency here, on one hand he's arguing that look, oh well, it's just the adraj of a narrator. It's just the opinion of Zuhri. I presented a tradition which just has has no Zuhri in the chain. It has Abu Huraira, and the part which it says Abu Isa added, I will not talk to you both, is that I will not talk to you about the property forever. You're okay, and then he adds the part, you are both right. Now this particular part, Abu Isa, this is his own addition. Now, do you remember right at the start of the introduction, I mentioned this as well. Now, when it comes to the traditions, they have this form of self-censorship. Abu Isa was not present during this time to make this statement. This is his opinion, and that's it. It's not binding. It's not hujjah. It's his opinion, and you could call this as a idraj if you like, but it doesn't change the fact that Sayyidah Fatima died angry. Now, what I'm going to do for the viewers, since it's my round in where I'm going to be presenting the rebuttals, I want to read some traditions out for you people. So, inshallah ta'ala, you can move along with me on this particular point. So if you just give me a minute. So I'm going to bring up other traditions now where I believe there was many other reasons why Sayyidah Fatima died angry with Abu Bakr. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'm totally new to this this program, so I've never used it before. Normally, as people are aware, I tend to use Hangouts. So the first tradition I like to bring up is the attack on the house of Sayyidah Fatima. Okay, now some may ask, why is it? How is this relevant to her dying angry? Now, I do not believe the only factor why Sayyidah Fatima died angry was the fact that she was denied her rights. I believe there were other factors involved. For example, let's have a look at this report, Ibn Abi Shayba, and it's narrated Muhammad ibn Bishr from Ubaidullah ibn Umar, from Zayd ibn Aslam, from his father Aslam, from the slave Umar, who said, after the Messenger of Allah passed away, when the allegiance was paid to Abu Bakr, Imam Ali and Zubair used to enter the house of Bibi Fatima and discuss about their action, meaning the usurping of the Khilafat. When this news reached Umar ibn Khattab, he went out and he entered the house of Bibi Fatima and said, O daughter of the Messenger of Allah, my most beloved...
Sorry to stop you, brother, you're deviating from the topic. This is
no, I'm not. If you let me finish to the point, then you'll understand my question, because the topic is whether or not Sayyidah Fatima died angry. And this is all related to...
This has to do with Umar, not Abu Bakr.
No, it's related to the issue of bay'ah, and since they were seeking to gain the bay'ah for Abu Bakr, so it's related.
All right. Okay. You can continue.
So that's okay. He went out and entered in the house of Bibi Fatima and said, "O daughter of the Messenger of Allah, my most beloved is your father, and after him it's you. But by Allah, this love is not hindrance to me. That if these people got collected, I will burn your house." Then he went out, and these people, Ali and Zubair, came there. So Bibi Fatima told them, "Do you know what? Do you know that Umar came to me and swore by Allah that if you returned, then he would burn down the house? And I swear by Allah that he would do that, do what he sworn." Then go reasonably and say your opinion and do not return to me. Then they went out from her and did not return until they paid allegiance to Abu Bakr. So this tradition is from Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, volume 13, page number 468, hadith number 34082, 38,042. Now this tradition has appeared in other forms with slight variations, but now I'll present you the gradings for the scholars. Ibn Abi Asim, in his book Al-Muzakkar, he mentioned this tradition.
I accept this hadith to be sahih, so go on.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. So this tradition, this initial threat that was made, that you notice that Umar is saying that despite your lofty position, I know who you are, right? But if they don't seek pledge of allegiance from me, I will threaten to burn the house. And again, as you said, you deem this narration authentic, and it has appeared in various forms, like from, for example, Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his book Kitab al-Sunnah, page 225. And as you said, that you have no issues except his report. Now, what we can establish is definitely without certainty, the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said it's not lawful. He frightens a Muslim, and it's quite clear that Bibi Fatima Salam alayha was extremely frightened by the situation, that she had to say to her husband, go pledge your allegiance. I'm afraid of what he may do. So that's the first point. It's not lawful for a Muslim that he frightens a Muslim. Point number two, it's not permitted for a Muslim to point weapons. And here you can quite explicitly seeing Umar making a threat. Now, how is this all linked? The reason why it's linked is found in the next following narration, and this is quite crucial. Sayyidah Fatima saying, coming back to the narration in Tirmidhi, she said, by Allah, I will not talk to you both, meaning Abu Bakr and Umar forever. And then she died and did not speak with them. Now the question is, the one thing is we've established is that, yes, okay, fair enough. She was angry with Abu Bakr on the issue of Fadak. But what role did Umar have in this? So the question is, if Sayyidah Fatima became angry by Abu Bakr and Umar over the treatment of Fadak, isn't it right that she was just as angry with Abu Bakr when he sent Umar to a house to secure the pledge of allegiance using force? That's my first question.
Okay, so should I respond?
Yes, brother, please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, as the viewers and the people who would be listening to this discussion would be clear by now that Brother Sayyid has failed to show a single narration without Zuhri. Now, the narration of Tirmidhi, which he has quoted, it is also narrated in Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, and the chain is shorter than the chain in Tirmidhi. And it is an usul that when a narration has a smaller chain, it is more authentic. In Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, volume number 1, page number 13, hadith number 79, and this hadith is Hasan, is authentic. It is narrated that Sayyidah Fatima asked for inheritance, but Sayyidina Abu Bakr responded by saying that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance. And it ends.
Sorry, Baba, I apologize, cut you off. Can you just read the reference again, which you just mentioned?
It's in Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, volume number 1, page number 13, hadith number 79.
Right.
And it has a shorter chain than the chain in Tirmidhi, and it is a usul of hadith that shorter the chain, more authentic it is. And in this chain, there is no mention of Sayyidah Fatima Salamullah alayha saying that she will not talk to them again. So this is a more authentic hadith. And remember, when a Sikha narrator narrates a more authentic hadith, and that supersedes other.
Do you have the reference that you could possibly share?
I can show you the Arabic of it.
Yeah, please. If you can just share it for the viewers to have a look at on the screen, and then inshallah I will definitely inshallah either respond or.
Okay, this is the narration. I'm highlighting it. Can you see it?
So this is the same narration which you mentioned. The one I mentioned in Tirmidhi also appears in
Musnad Ahmad.
Okay,
so,
and what?
Apologies, brother. You know, the rule is obviously you've just put an argument forward.
Yeah.
Have you got the scan for the other one as well? You said that the principle of shorter hadith is more reliable. Do you have that scan for that?
I don't need to present a scan over it. It is a fundamental proof that shorter the chain, more authentic it is. The longer the chain it is, the more narrators are there inside the chain. The wording of the hadiths can change and it becomes less authentic. Shorter the chain, it becomes closer to the incident. So it becomes more authentic. So kindly don't interrupt me. Let me complete. So let me complete. So start my 5 minutes now.
Okay.
So as you can see on the screen, this is the narration, same narration, and in this it does not mention that Sayyidah Fatima did not talk to Abu Bakr and Umar again. It just ends at the wording that Sayyidina Abu Bakr said that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance. And Sheikh Shoaib al-Arnaout, the one who has written authentication of Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal, has declared this hadith to be Hasan. Now, the important point, which is that there is not a single narration.
Sorry, Baba. I don't want to cut you off. Can you just read the chain, if you have the chain of that narration, which you mentioned?
All right, wait.
I apologize. Because this particular narration, I mean, I'm curious to know, obviously, who the narrator is and whether or not it has that part that says that the addition by the narrator, Abu Isa.
Okay. Abu Isa is not present in this chain.
Okay, he's not present. Who's the narrator of the tradition?
It's narrated by Abdullah, narrated by Abdul Wahab bin Atta, narrated by Muhammad bin Amr, from Abi Salma, from Abu Huraira. It is the same narration from Abu Huraira.
Okay, and it appears in the form of, in the Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and it stops at the part which says
that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance.
Okay, so that's fine, no problem. You can finish your point now, brother. Please continue.
Okay. So this is the more authentic narration, and it does not mention that Sayyidah Fatima did not talk to them again. Also, even if assuming the narration in Tirmidhi is authentic, it says the narrator, remember the narrator himself explains that she did not talk to them ever about the inheritance, and she considers them truthful. So that's the point, which that's an important point which is to be noted. Now, my first point is that Brother Said has failed to show a single narration from Bukhari or Muslim without Zuhri, or any other book of hadith without Zuhri. Even the narration in Tirmidhi does not say that Sayyidah Fatima got angry. The word angry, we are debating on the word angry, that Sayyidah Fatima got angry. Even the narration in Tirmidhi does not say that she got angry. So he has not shown a single narration without Zuhri. And I mentioned in the beginning that there are two types of narrations. There is hadith bil mani and hadith bil lafz. Hadith bil mani means that the narrator explains the hadith himself. Now, and hadith bil lafz means that the narration is narrated exactly the way it is. The narration about Fatima salamullah alayha getting angry is hadith bil mani. It is not hadith bil lafz. And even there are narrations even with Zuhri in the chain which do not mention that Sayyidah Fatima got angry. Here is one narration, as you can see on the screen. It is in Sahih Muslim. This you can see, and this is.
Brother, you know your screen. We can't see your screen. I don't know if it's me. I can't see your screen. I can't even see the reference from Musnad, the one you were going to present.
You did not see it?
No, brother, it's not coming up.
It's not coming up.
Wait 1 minute. Can you see now? Can you see now?
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just scroll? Sorry, apologies. Can you just scroll to the narration and Musnad?
Okay, wait.
I'm just going to stop the timer. Okay. So you can,
stop the timer. Stop the timer. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can see the screen.
This is the one in Musnad Ahmad. I'm highlighting it. This is from same Abu Huraira, and the hadith says that Sayyidah Fatima radhiyallahu ta'ala anha came to Abu Bakr and Umar radhiyallahu ta'ala anhuma and asked for inheritance from inheritance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu replied that I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that the prophets do not leave behind inheritance. This hadith ends over here. So this is the one in Musnad Ahmad. It's in volume 1, page 13, hadith number 79. and Sheikh Shoaib al-Arnaout has declared it Hasan in his grading of Musnad Ahmad bin Hanbal. Now, coming to the point of Zuhri, even with Zuhri in chain, there are narrations which do not say that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. As you can see on the screen here, let me highlight this one. It is in Sahih Muslim, and this has Zuhri in the chain. It is in book 19, hadith number 4354. So in this hadith, the Messenger of Allah, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, the Messenger of Allah said, we do not have any heirs, that is, we do not leave behind inheritance. What we leave behind is sadaqah, charity. The narrator said she, Fatima, lived 6 months after the death of Messenger of Allah, and she used to demand from Abu Bakr her share from the legacy of the Messenger of Allah from Khaybar and Fadak. It does not mention that she got angry. It just mentions that she used to demand. This hadith also proves that she kept on talking to Abu Bakr. This hadith proves that she kept on talking to Abu Bakr till she died. So it goes contrary to the other hadith which has Zuhri, which says that she died without talking to Abu Bakr. This one says that she kept on demanding her share till she died. So this is in Sahih Muslim. And there's another hadith in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 5, book number 57, hadith number 16. It has also come from Zuhri, and it also does not mention that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. So that's the point we are discussing. We are discussing the point on angry, not the other points. And Imam al-Sakhawi has said that Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri used to himself explain many hadiths. Many times he would not mention the particle of speech from which would be known if the words were from the Prophet or from Zuhri himself. Hence, some scholars of his time would always ask him to separate his words from those of the Prophet. This is in Fath al-Mughis, volume number 1, page number 267 to 268. Imam al-Sakhawi is a big muhaddith of Ahl-Sunnah, and he has proven that Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri used to himself explain many hadiths. So this is an explanation of Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. It is not the saying of Sayyidah Aisha. It is not the saying of Sayyidah Fatima. It is not the saying of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. And it is not part of the original hadith. So how much time do I have left?
I'll give you, because you stopped as well, you've got about another 40 seconds.
All right. So the major point is that Brother Sayyid has to show an explicit hadith without Zuhri, which says that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. So show me that hadith.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, this is obviously my second round. I asked an initial question in the first round, which the brother didn't respond to, which fair enough. He's not required, he's not compelled to respond to that. So now we kind of coming back to the original topic of discussion, which was about Zuhri. I had already demonstrated in several ways how Zuhri, even if we were to assume that it is his opinion, that it is his adraj, the scholars by majority have accepted this as a valid method to accept reports. And in fact, I demonstrated that from the 6 students of Zuhri, they also narrated it continuously without any hesitation, without any problems whatsoever. And the slight wordings in hadith is something which is not unusual. Sometimes we find the word, ghazabat or hajarat or wajadat. These are, and there's another one as well, which I cannot recall, but the wordings of these hadith have come in numerous ways, in numerous traditions. And this is based on the principle which I had also mentioned previously in my introduction, which was ziyadatul thiqa, that, if there is a trustworthy narrator, if he uses a slight variation in wording, it's no problem accepting this report. In fact, there's not a single scholar who's ever said that this part of the hadith, which says that Sayyidah Fatima ﷺ died angry or displeased or dissatisfied with Abu Bakr, that it's Raj of Zuhri. In fact, this brother will not be able to prove to me a single narrator, a single scholar who said that these words, and these words meaning Sayyidah Fatima dying angry, are ones which are the opinion of the narrator himself. I'm just trying to remember some of the other points you mentioned. Yeah, so as for the tradition mentioned in Musnad, he said that, because it's a shorter tradition, we can accept that over the tradition in Drimzi. That's not a principle. That's a principle which you've kind of developed yourself, or you, I don't know, you've maybe made up yourself. But, you know, if you have any scholars who say that that's acceptable, feel free to quote them. I'd be interested to know myself. But as I mentioned, based on the principle on, ziyadatul thiqa, meaning that if a trustworthy narrator has narrated a report in other forms, it is accepted. There's no issues. And again, the tradition of Abu Hurairah, which is mentioned in Tirmidhi, which has the wording that she didn't speak to them both, meaning to the point where, you know, it's like, for example, there's a person, they're constantly demanding something. As you mentioned, on numerous occasions, she kept demanding her right. And then eventually it gets to the point where you say to yourself, you know what, enough is enough. I don't want nothing to do with this. And the fact is, she did die angry, and this is something which you can't escape. In fact, let's go to the next question, which I'd like to ask the brother. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly screen share for the viewers. And this is something very interesting. This is actually Abu Bakr's confession. Now, this book, Hadith al-Mukhtara, Volume 1, page 18, by Maqaddisi, he mentions the authenticity of this book. It is mentioned in its introduction, how the status of this particular book. And it's quite a lengthy narration. It's about Abu Bakr's confession when he was coming close to death. So I'm not gonna read the whole chain because it's quite a rather lengthy narration. I'm gonna go to the main part of the narration where he says, "Then Abu Bakr said, 'Indeed, I do not regret anything except for three things. I wish I would not have done. These three things I did not do, which I wish I had not done, and these three things which I have asked the Messenger of Allah about. As for the three things these three things, apologies, I wish I had not done, then I wish that I had not uncovered the house of Sayyidah Fatima.'" So in Abu Bakr's own admission, he actually admits that one of the things, as we know from the tradition previously mentioned in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, where Abu Bakr ordered Umar to go to the house of Sayyidah Fatima and seek the Pledge of Allegiance by force. And it's interesting because so this is the confession of Abu Bakr himself towards the end of his life. And there's the reference for the viewers to go back. The grading that she mentioned in the footnotes, and the viewers can always go back and have a look at that. Again, the same narration also appears in Suyuti's famous works. Can you show the
chain of narration? Let me look at the chain of narration.
Sure, brother. Sure. Hassan, can you just pause it for a minute?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, pause.
Okay, wait.
Just in the footnote, he mentioned this narration is good from Abu Bakr, except there is nothing in it from the words of the Prophet. And the Bukhari.
Let me see the chain of narration.
Sure.
Can you go down?
Sure. More down?
I can't see the chain of narration yet.
Sorry, I don't know what you can see. Hold on, let me just... Now?
You have it in English only, or you have it in Arabic as well?
I have the Arabic as well. Can you not see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Narrated to us Abul Zambaru bin al-Faraj. This is the one. Let me see the Arabic in Arabic.
Okay, sure, brother. 1 second, if you just bear with me. It's fine. Sayyid Hassan has paused the screen, so it's not an issue. There you go.
This is the one.
Take your time, no rush.
Okay, fine. You can continue.
Okay, brother. 1 minute. Sorry, just give me a second. Until I, okay, so Sayyid Hassan, you ready now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the same narration Al-Suyuti mentions in his book, Jami al-Hadith. He says that amongst the things he confessed to was the fact that he uncovered the house of Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alaiha. This tradition, again, the references are there in the footnote, and it's graded as Hasan reliable. And this is from Jami al-Hadith, volume 13, page 100, 101. So we find Abu Bakr confessing on his deathbed about the fact that he ordered he used a certain means of approach to gain his pledge allegiance. Muttaqi al-Hindi, in his book Kanz al-Amal, he also mentioned the same narration, and in the footnote is deemed as being reliable. So this is appeared in numerous books, and numerous scholars have attested to this. In fact, it's amongst the famous references quoted about Abu Bakr towards the end of his life. So we're going to just quickly scroll down further to the main crux of the argument. So my question here is to the brother is that Sayyidah Fatima was obviously angry over the dispute of Fadak and the bay'ah, including the threat made on the house. So why was Abu Bakr remorseful on his deathbed based on his own confession? Justin.
Okay, let me continue. Now I will show you the hadith that, and it is authentic hadith, that Sayyidah Fatima was well pleased with Abu Bakr when she died. And should I show you the screenshot?
We can't.
1 minute.
Where's the screen? We can't see the page, brother.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes, brother.
Okay.
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay. It is narrated in Sunan al-Bahaqi that when Sayyidah Fatima became ill, and this was when she was about to die, Abu Bakr visited her and asked for permission to enter. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, "O Fatima, here is Abu Bakr asking for permission to enter." She answered, "Do you want me to give him permission?" He said, "Yes." So she allowed Abu Bakr to enter. Abu Bakr came in seeking her pleasure and said to her, "By Allah, I only left my house, my property, my family, my family in order to seek pleasure of Allah, His Prophet, and you, O people of the household, Ahlul Bayt." He continued talking to her until she was pleased with him. Now, as brother Sayyid in his, he might say that this hadith is Mursal, so he might call it weak, but brother Sayyid has himself accepted that majority of Ahl Sunnah accept the Mursal narration, and it has a Sahih chain. Imam al-Bahaqi has called it Hasan. This is narrated by Imam Bahaqi in Sunan al-Kubra, volume number 6, page number 300 to 301, and also in Dalail al-Nabuwa, where he said that it is narrated with a good Hasan chain. So this is an authentic hadith, and it proves that Sayyidah Fatima Salamullah alayha died by being well pleased. I can show Shia narrations on this as well, but as I don't have the Shia scans, so
no problem.
So, but it is mentioned by Ibn Maysam al-Bahrani as well, in Shia books as well. So when it is present in Sunni books that Sayyidah Fatima was very well pleased with Abu Bakr, then the case is closed. That she was not angry with Abu Bakr when she died, and she was well pleased. So this is the point number one. Point number two, the brother went towards the burning the house issue. Even that narration does not prove that Sayyidina Umar burnt the house. He just...
I never said that. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm saying that it does not prove that he burnt the house. And it does not prove that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr and Umar. It does not say anywhere that she was angry. So it is just something which Umar said, but he actually did not burn the house, contrary to the wrong belief of Shias that Sayyidah Fatima's house was burnt and she died because of it, and her child in the womb got wasted. These are fabricated reports, but the one in Musannaf ibn Shayba is authentic, I agree, but it does not prove that the house was burnt, and it does not prove that Sayyidah Fatima got angry. So these are the 2 points.
Thank you, brother.
Brothers, Sayyidah Fatima was well pleased with Abu Bakr, and I have proven it from authentic hadith from Beheki, Dalal Nabuwa, and Sunan al-Kubra.
Okay, thank you, brother, for that. Firstly, just to clarify, at no point did I suggest, because what we need to understand here, that the account mentioned about the incident on the door, mentioned in Shia books and Sunni books, there's a difference in account. Yes, we have the account that mentions they actually entered the house, whereas in Sunni scholarship, due to their self-censorship, which their own scholars have confirmed when it comes to reporting certain accounts of the Sahaba, they've been very selective on mentioning it. But one thing which is clear for certain is the fact that you have the narration that makes a threat. Now, if that's not a reason to be angry, I don't know about you. If I was to turn up with a mob of people outside your house making threats to your wife, if your husband doesn't come, when he comes back from work, if he doesn't come and pledges allegiance to me, or for whatever reason, I'm sure your wife will be extremely upset about it. But I'm not going to delve too much into that tradition itself, since we've come into dealing with your objection. So your objection is that Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alayha became pleased with Abu Bakr. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the narration for the viewers. And this narration, as you rightly mentioned, it's mentioned in Sunan al-Bahiki. And the main narrator of this book is, the main narrator of this tradition is an individual called Shahabi. Now, Shahabi, I'm not going to go into too much here, but what's interesting is this narration itself. It says, this is a good mursal, disconnected narration that is quoted with, say, authentic chain. So this brother is arguing on the basis that, oh, well, this is the adraj of Zuhri. We can't accept it. We can't accept it. But here, he's trying to prove this, that a person who's a tabi, according to him, or tabi, he narrates this particular incident, and he's not even an eyewitness to it. So on one hand, can you see the inconsistency, viewers? On one hand, they're willing to accept a report, reject a report because it's from Zuhri, but on the other hand, they'll accept a report if it suits them. So this narration itself, even though it's sahih in the sense that in Sunan Beki, it's mentioned that this is a mursal, disconnected narration that is quoted with authentic.
Mursal does not mean disconnected. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, well, he's not a direct witness to this incident. It's mursal. It doesn't go back to a companion.
But brother, you have accepted that the majority of Ahl-Sunnah accept the narrations.
Okay, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that part, inshallah. So now, as for this particular narration, when we're talking about Shahabi or Shoabi, what we do know for certain is that when we look at his teachers, he had multiple teachers, and from amongst one of his teachers was an individual called Harith. So he had multiple teachers. He had a teacher called Harith, Zaid, Ibn Masud, and Ali. These were amongst his teachers, but his teacher Harith, who he's most probably heard it from, is somebody who's not considered reliable. Ibn Madani has termed him a liar. Abu Hatim says he isn't strong and his hadith shouldn't be used. Abu Zurara has said that his hadith shouldn't be used. So this is the teacher of Shoabi. This is from Tahzib al-Kamal, volume 5, page number 247, 249. So if we assume that he did hear this, he's most likely to have heard it from his teacher. And his own teacher is somebody rejected. Now let's come back to the principle. What is the principle? Okay, the principle is that if there's a difference between a musnad, a connected report, and a mursal, disconnected report, then the musnad is given preference. Meaning, if we have established without doubt that Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alayha died angry with Abu Bakr and she stopped speaking to him till she died, this has been established within the two main books, Bukhari and Muslim. So, for example, here we have Jami al-Tahsil, and it says, volume 1, page 34, that most Malikis and Hanafis, such as Abi Jafar al-Tahawi, Abu Bakr Razi, said to give preference to the musnad over the mursal, disconnected, when they contradict each other. So when you give preference to what's been documented in the first two books, meaning Bukhari and Muslim. Again, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, he mentioned something similar. He says, ahad singular narrations, and by the way, it is a singular narration, ahad narrations are not certain, except if there are other conditions to support it as such. The narration being in the two Sahih books, as there are extra conditions which support its authenticity, which are its greatness in this matter. These narrations being preferred over what is in other books, as you mentioned, the scholars accepting what is in these books, and this scholarly acceptance is a stronger in proving certainty than simply having many chains to mutawatir. Nevertheless, when we look at reports, the preference is given over to Bukhari and Muslim of any second source. Okay, let's come to this particular individual who you mentioned, and let's have a look at what people have said about him. Firstly, this narrator was born 2 years after the death of Umar, even a witness to this incident. Ibn Hazm has mentioned it in his book Al-Muhalla, volume 11, page 50. So this he was born 2 years after the Khilafat of Umar. So obviously, if you're going to be brought up in that type of environment, when obviously Umar was in power, and of course you're going to have this mentality where everyone's in hunky-dory. Nevertheless, okay, Allama ibn Abdul Barr, he says the mursal, disconnected of Shu'bi, according to them is worth nothing. And this is from his book Al-Tamheed, volume 22, page number 320. That's Allama ibn Abdul Barr, who says that his reports are worth nothing. So to bring those reports to me, I mean, obviously they're not really my books anyway to accept with. But nevertheless, the point being is that the narrator is worthless and his opinions don't mean nothing. And preference is given to Bukhari and Muslim. So how much time do you have, Sayyid Hassan? Because I want to ask the brother a question.
Hold on, brother, let me just check. Sorry, I'll just check my timer. You've just got 1 more minute, brother. Okay, so my question is in reference to Abu Bakr's funeral. Abu Bakr not being informed about the funeral prayers of Sayyidah Fatima. Generally, we know in Islam to be buried at night is something which definitely, from a fiqh point of view, is something which is discouraged, is not permitted. So why wasn't Abu Bakr informed about the burial of Sayyidah Fatima sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Or perhaps she was, I don't know, maybe he was.
Okay, fine. My turn. How many rounds?
Go ahead. I don't know, Sayyid Hassan?
Hey, brother, sorry?
How many rounds are left?
So this is the second, we've got 3 rounds left.
3 rounds left. Okay, fine. Now, brothers, my time starts now. Brother Sayyid has contradicted himself while presenting the proof that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. He accepted that it is a mursal of Zuhri. And he presented a proof from Ahl Sunnah that
no, brother, I didn't. Sorry, brother, I didn't say that. I didn't say it's the mursal. Hypothetically speaking, if you assume, I never said that it is.
But brother, you said that the word is kala. The hadith in Sahih Muslim itself uses the word kala before
yes,
the word.
But I also demonstrated that it's also narrated continuously and is also narrated with galat as well.
Yeah, but there is a dispute now. In some narration it says kala, in some narration it says kalat. So in the narrations of Muslim, Sahih Muslim is a more authentic.
Brother, I answered that already. I said that basically the reports that say kala and kalat, or kala in this case, they are, you're talking about another 6 sub-narrators who've narrated it continuously without any usage of the word kala. Therefore, by transmission, most of the people narrated it continuously, and this dispute about being kala and being idraj, etc. There's no evidence from a single Sunni scholar ever saying that this is that part was the opinion of Zuhri. But brother, I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'll let you continue. I apologize. Carry on.
Okay, let me come to the Mursal Hadith. Now, I'm from Ahl Sunnah, so obviously I know very well the stance of Ahl Sunnah scholars on Mursal Hadith. The Salafis and Wahhabis do not accept Mursal Hadith, so I'm not a Salafi or Wahhabi. Shawafi also do not accept Mursal Hadith. I'm not a Shafi, I'm a Hanafi. And majority of the early scholars accepted Mursal Hadith. Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti in his book Tadrib al-Rawi, a book written on Hadith terminologies and Hadith usul, he has said that scholars have said that Mursal, which comes from the first 3 generations, and Shabi is from the first generation, then it is accepted. According to Hanafi school, otherwise not, because it has come in Hadith that after 3 generations, lying would become common. Imam Ibn Jarir has said that all successors, that the Tabi'een, have consensus that Mursal Hadith is accepted, and none of them have rejected this saying. So Mursal is accepted according to the early most scholars. And remember, we go back to the Salaf. We follow the Salaf al-Salihin. And the Salaf al-Salihin used to accept Mursal narrations. And Brother Said also said that when there is a dispute between Mursal and Musnad, then Musnad is given preference, whereas Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti says in his Tadrib al-Rawi, volume number 1, page number 198, that Mursal is even better than Musnad. Mursal is even better than Musnad.
Do you have the scan for this one, brother, please?
I can show you the Arabic.
Okay. Yeah, please do share it, because then afterwards I can double check it. Because obviously, to the contrary, I did present Ibn Hajar Asqalani's opinion and Suyuti, I believe, myself, I think I may be. Okay. Hassan, Sayyid Hassan, can you just pause it for a second? His time, the brother's time.
Already done, already.
Okay, this is the Arabic. Let me read you the important part. Mursal is Kavi, more strong than Musnad. It is better than Musnad. So it says, let me highlight it. This is because when a Sikha narrator narrates a complete chain, then he leaves the research upon us. But if he leaves someone from in between, then he himself becomes a guarantee of the chain. So according to Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti in Tadrib al-Rawi, a Mursal is even better than Musnad.
Sorry, brother, can you just scroll up to the actual Arabic part as well, please, brother? Okay, please do continue. Sayyid Hassan, whenever you're ready, brother, please continue.
This is the part.
Sure. Whenever you want Sayyid Hassan to continue with the time, let him know. Yeah, brother, I've got it. I can see it now. It's clear.
Okay. Okay. So Mursal is accepted by Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah by majority of our scholars. And so you have to accept that I'm from Ahl Sunnah, so I'm presenting the Sunni viewpoint. The Salafis say that the Mursal is disconnected, but we do not consider Mursal to be disconnected. Okay, 1 minute. So the point the brother brought the issue of Sayyidina Umar going to the house of Sayyidah Fatima and threatening to burn it, and he linked it where I consider this to be off topic, because we are talking about Sayyidah Fatima getting angry with Abu Bakr, not Umar. We can discuss it some other time, why Sayyidina Umar gave this threat, and how we Ahl Sunnah defend Sayyidina Umar. That is another topic. But it is not linked to Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So I have presented proofs, and I presented from a Sahih, authentic narration of Bahaki, who has himself called it Hassan, that Sayyidah Fatima was very well pleased with Abu Bakr when she died. Regarding the point he brought about the funeral of Sayyidah Fatima, we Sunnis do have narrations that Sayyidina Abu Bakr was the one who led the funeral prayer of Sayyidah Fatima. It is mentioned in Kanzul Umal, and it's also narrated by Ibrahim al-Nakhai in Bahaki and other books of hadith, that it was Sayyidina Abu Bakr who read the funeral prayer of Sayyidah Fatima Salamullah alayha. So the point is, even if assuming that Sayyidina Ali buried Sayyidah Fatima at night time without telling Abu Bakr, it does not prove that he or Sayyidah Fatima were angry with Abu Bakr. If Sayyidah Fatima was angry with Abu Bakr, then the blame goes on Sayyidina Ali. Why did he give pledge to Sayyidina Abu Bakr? Now Shias would say that he did taqiyya, and but we consider Mawla Ali alayhi salam as to be one of the most brave among Sahaba. He used to fight kuffar strongly. He was not afraid of anyone. He is called Lion of Allah. Why did he give bayah to Abu Bakr if Sayyidah Fatima was angry with Abu Bakr? So this means that Sayyidina Ali also did not believe that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. Had he known that Sayyidah Fatima was angry with Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Ali would have never given bayah to Sayyidina Abu Bakr. So this is the point. And regarding the burning house issue, your Shia books have narrations that even in your Shia books, these are fabricated narrations that the house was actually burnt. And I can prove it next time, inshallah, if we talk
inshallah,
about.
We can have a separate, inshallah, discussion on that particular issue, and we can discuss about Mawla Ali Islam being the line of Allah and so forth, etc. So the thing is, your quotation which you mentioned of Suyuti, I mean, I'm no expert in Arabic, but from what I've read from that passage you quoted, it doesn't seem to me as Suyuti is actually confirming that Mursal is given preference to Musnad. What he said is people have gone to extreme by saying the Mursal is over Musnad, and by all means we can discuss this after the discussion or debate, but we can definitely look at that. So I want to, you mentioned that this opinion is only mentioned by Salafis, and it's something which is pretty much just exaggerate from the Salafi circles. But again, look what Allama
the Shafis also say that.
Okay, so that's fine, no problem. But here, I've quoted it already, and I'm going to repeat it again. It says most Malikis and Hanafis, such as Abi Jafar al-Tahawi and Abi Bakr al-Razi, said preference to Musnad over Mursal. Okay, so I've quoted that. I will quote another one again, just in case you missed it, just in case the viewers missed it as well. I'll quote Ibn Hajar Asqalani. Nobody can claim that he's a famous Ashari scholar anyway. He said exactly pretty much the same thing. Again, okay, even if we were to assume that you do give preference to a Mursal narration, the point is Shahabi himself was born 2 years after death of Umar. Okay, some may say, well, he still falls under the category of being a Tabi'i. Again, his particular Mursal, by scholars like Allama Ibn Abdul Barr, he considered them to be worth nothing. Okay, so he said that his references are worth nothing. Now, as for the narration about Abu Bakr leading the prayers, I want to quote Ibn Abdul Barr in his book Al-Istiyab, volume 14, page 95. He says, Waqidi narrated from Shuhbi that Abu Bakr prayed on Fatima, but this tradition is weak and disconnected. And some unreliable narrators narrated from Malik, from Jafar ibn Muhammad alayhi salam, and Imam Muhammad Baqir from his father the same, but Darul Qutni and Ibn Uday discredited it. So there's no authentic tradition that Abu Bakr led the funeral prayers of Sayyidah Fatima. In fact, it's also been mentioned in other books as well. It's been mentioned, it's even been mentioned by Ibn Hajar Asqalani. He's discussed it briefly in Fath al-Bari. So yeah, there is no authentic report that says Sayyidah Fatima alayha was permitted Abu Bakr to lead the funeral prayers. Now what I want to do is I want to continue on with my next question to the brother. Inshallah, if you just bear with me while I get this screen ready to share for the viewers to have a look at. Sorry, just give me a minute while I just get this out. Sayyid Hassan, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm there, brother.
Okay, just give me a second.
I'll stop the time.
Okay, sorry. Just give me a second. Sorry, it's just I'm not used to this particular what do you call it, software, and it's just annoying. Okay, so yeah, continuing on where I mentioned about this narration being weak. Again, Ibn Hajar Asqalani mentions in his book Fath al-Bari. He also discusses this, and he mentions it in there. I believe Al-Hakim in his Al-Mustadrak, he also mentions the fact that narrated Aisha that Fatima, the daughter of the Messenger of Allah, was buried in the night, and she was buried by Ali, and he did not inform Abu Bakr about her until her burial, and Ali ibn Abi Talib prayed upon her. So you can see that, in order to in order to deal with the embarrassing situation which involves a lot of self-censorship, they had to fabricate many reports. I mean, let's be realistic. If Sayyidah Fatima was not angry with Abu Bakr at all, then why the need to go seek her pleasure? Why the need to have these reports to reconcile the fact that, yeah, Abu Bakr did lead the funeral prayers when they have reports, saying to the contrary. So now comes to my next rebuttal, which is the consequences of Sayyidah Fatima dying angry. Now, what we know for certain is that the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, said, "O Fatima, your anger is Allah's anger, and your pleasure is Allah's pleasure." Now, this has nothing to do with the incident about Sayyidah Fatima becoming displeased with Mawla Ali wanting to take another spouse. This is a complete different tradition. Again, that topic in itself can be discussed another time, but the general principle is that, you know, Fatima's pleasure is Allah's pleasure, and is Allah's pleasure. And this hadith, Suyuti mentions it in his book with the Hassan chain. Other scholars have also mentioned it as well. Let me just quickly go. It's mentioned Al-Mustadrak by Al-Hakim. He deemed the narration to be Sahih. And Muhammad ibn Shaban, again, he mentions it and he deems this narration to be Hassan. Now, again, Manawi mentions it to be Hassan in his famous book as well, on page number 65. I've just presented them. So what do we understand from this? So number one, Fatima's anger is Allah's anger. Number one. Number two, Fatima was angry with both Abu Bakr and Umar. Number three, therefore Allah was angry with both of them. Now, considering that she never forgave them, then Allah is still angry with both Abu Bakr and Umar. And fifthly, therefore, both are cursed in this world based on the fact that Sayyidah Fatima died angry with them. Now, let's look at Surah Fatiha. What does it say? Surah Fatiha says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Master of the Day of Judgment. Thee do we serve and thee do we beseech for help. Keep us on the right path, the path upon whom thou has bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray. So now my question to you, Brother Aamir, is that, are you not disobeying Allah by following Abu Bakr and Umar, since Allah is displeased with them?
No. Okay, brother. I'll have to come back to the point again, that you have not been able to prove that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. So all this from Surah Fatiha and all the points you made are futile and they're not worth anything, because you have failed to prove that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. We have to go back again on Zuhri point, and I have proven that even in narrations narrated by Zuhri, there is no mention of Sayyidah Fatima getting angry. And I have mentioned that there are hadiths bil mani and hadiths bil lafz, and this narration of Zuhri is hadith bil mani, which means that it's an interpretation of Zuhri. It is not the wording of hadith itself. So it is not proven that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. So there is no need for me to answer your last question.
Okay, no problem. Shall I deal with my last question, Sayyid Hassan? I think that we come to an end of
By all means, yeah.
Okay. So now comes to the last part. Inshallah, once again, what I'll do is I'll present a little documentation for the viewers to have a look at. And that is what the Sunni scholars have said, confirming that Sayyidah Fatima, Salaam alayha, died angry with Abu Bakr. So Ibn Hajar Asqalani, in his book Fath al-Bari, he quotes the following. I'm not going to quote the part of the hadith. Thus, she was angry with Abu Bakr and continued her excommunication till she died. In the hadith of Mehmed, Fatima excommunicated Abu Bakr and didn't talk to him until she died. And Umar ibn Shu'bah has narrated another narration that she didn't talk to Abu Bakr about the issue of money, as mentioned in Trimzi, which answers your previous objection. As quoted, same from the few his teachers, that Fatima was saying to Abu Bakr and Umar that she wouldn't talk to both of you, in particular in reference to the issue of inheritance. Okay, Sha'ashi debunked this interpretation. Okay, so your scholars even rejected this interpretation and replied to this interpretation that saying of the hadith, she was angry, means that she didn't talk to Abu Bakr at all. That is clear reference of excommunicating Abu Bakr. This is from Ibn Hajar Asqalani in his book Fath al-Bari. And let me go to another scholar who confirms Sunni scholar who confirms Sayyidah Fatima Alayha died angry with Abu Bakr. This from Allama Tahir Hindi. He says Fatima was angry on Abu Bakr and excommunicated him. Her being angry is because of her human nature, subhanAllah. So even him, he confirms, he says no issue. Fatima was angry on Abu Bakr and excommunicated him. This is from the famous book, Majma al-Bahal Anwar, volume 4, page number 93. Okay, again, let's have a look at another Sunni scholar who confirms Sayyidah Fatima died angry. Ibn Kathir. As for Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her and she be pleased with him. Being angry with Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him and he be pleased with Allah, then I don't know what is the reason for her being angry. He doesn't even know. Ibn Kathir doesn't even know why Fatima died angry. He doesn't know what the reason is. Anyway, that's in his book, Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya, volume 8, page number 189. Again, let's have a look at another Sunni scholar, Al-Kirmani, in his famous book, Kawkab al-Duri, volume 13, page 75. He says, Fatima is being angry is because of her human nature. So he doesn't deny it. Oh, he says that, look at me, she's just a woman. Her being angry, it's just part of her nature. Even though I already showed from authentic, at least Sahih and Hasan traditions, that her anger is Allah's anger and her pleasure is Allah's pleasure. Allama Kustalani, in his Arshadul Sari, I believe, volume 5, page number 192, he says, when Fatima came out, Abu Bakr being angry on her that she got busy with her life and then she got ill, and excommunicating him is haram. Is when someone comes to me, but one person doesn't want to meet the other. And that's in volume 5, page number 192. So there's many Sunni scholars who confirm she died angry. Now the question is now, there was not one reason Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alayha was angry, but many. Okay, as I've established in this rebuttal round, for example. The scholars attested to this. Therefore, whose opinion should I take about Sayyidah Fatima being angry? Those scholars I mentioned or yours? Okay. That's it. I don't know if the brother wants to have a quick 5-minute, 2 or 3 minute last minute points, and then we conclude, inshallah.
Yeah, that's it. Aamir, you want to give a few minutes?
All right, okay. Well, scholars have said many things, and scholars are, according to Islam, the Hujjah is Quran, Sunnah, not scholars. So scholars have said many things, and scholars have said many strange things, both from Shia side and Sunni side. And I can show many absurd fatwas in Shia books as well. So when something is not proven from Quran and Sunnah, and Abu Bakr is praised in Quran. Abu Bakr is praised in Quran, and nothing can supersede Quran. He is the Yar of Ghar. He is the companion of the cave. And Allah Ta'ala is Alimul Ghaib. So had Abu Bakr, had Allah Ta'ala been angry with Abu Bakr, he would have mentioned that in Quran. But Allah only praises the Sahaba, the Awwalun wa Sabiqun in the Quran, in Surah Tawbah, verse number 100. And Allah Ta'ala praises Abu Bakr specifically in Surah Tawbah, verse number 40, that he is the companion of the cave, and Allah sent tranquility on him. That's mentioned in Quran in Surah Tawbah, verse number 40. So Quran supersedes. Allah is pleased with Abu Bakr. We cannot go towards even narrations which contradict Quran. So in Quran, Allah Ta'ala is pleased with Abu Bakr, and he is radhi with him, and Allah is radhi with him. So we have to accept Quran, and even from Hadith, it is not proven that Sayyidah Fatima got angry with Abu Bakr. That's the end.
Okay, Sayyid Hassan, I just want to make a quick final point.
Yeah, please, you can do so, yeah.
Okay, so brothers and sisters, as we can conclude safely that Sayyidah Fatima didn't just simply die angry with Abu Bakr, but she was hurt. She was truly hurt. After all the evidences that I presented on a variety of reasons, can there be any shadow of doubt as to what happened to her? There's no doubt that these tragic events, which occurred after the death of the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, were a systematic attack to oppress Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alayha. This was a state-sponsored attempt to oppress her. This is due to greed and power. Okay, there were many factors to this. Now, this wasn't just an attack on Sayyidah Fatima Salam Alayha, this was an attack on Islam. Okay, now the brother did make some quick points, and I just want to quickly address them because I think it's very important, because even though the topic was the pleasure of Sayyidah Fatima, whether or not she died angry with Abu Bakr or not, he did decide to bring up verses of the Holy Quran, which I do think is important that I do very quickly, inshallah ta'ala, address them. Okay, so the verse he mentioned is in Surah Tawbah, verse 940, which says, if you helped him, meaning the Prophet, it does not matter, for Allah did indeed help him with the disbelievers, drove him out, the second of the two. Okay, when they both, meaning Abu Bakr being the second of the two, were in the cave, and he said to his companion, be not sad, surely Allah is with us. And Allah sent down his calmness and strengthened them with forces which you saw not, and then he made the word of those disbelieved. Okay, so this is the verse the Prophet mentioned as a praise of Abu Bakr. Just really quickly to respond back to, and I think it's important because it's funny because I was hoping he would actually mention this particular verse, because there's some points I want to leave the viewers on. Okay, and those points are quite crucial for everyone to see and ponder over. Okay, so just give me a second. I apologize about this. So number one, what is the praise that's mentioned here? Number one, Abu Bakr is the one of the two. He's called a companion, and Allah sent down his tranquility, or his calmness, or his sakina. So firstly, number one, him being one of the two. Firstly, being one of the two is in no ways a merit of any kind. In fact, Abu Bakr himself in Bukhari says that Allah is the third of them. Allah is the third of them. So if the Prophet is first and Abu Bakr is second, what does it say about Allah, that he's the third? No, Allah is with everyone. Okay, so yes, he may have been with the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, but there's not a secret council where Allah is not present. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to quickly mention is the term of the word Sahabi. The word Sahabi is applied in many different contexts in the Holy Quran. It doesn't have any positive meaning. It doesn't always mean something positive, and likewise, it doesn't have to always mean something negative. For example, here, Surah 31:15, Surah 4:36, Surah 18:34, you can see the usage of the word companions are used even for disbelieving parents. It can be the case between a journey between somebody who's a traveler and somebody who doesn't have faith. It can be a companionship between an infidel and a faithful person. It can be a companionship between two bad people, and so forth. So the word companion itself does not mean anything positive and negative. And as for the tranquility, look at the verse. Let's just go back one more time. And the verse says at the beginning, if you help him, and if he does not, it continues and it says the last part, and we strengthen him with forces which you saw not. Now, unless we accept that Abu Bakr is a prophet, how else did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen him with angels? But anyway, this is me, alhamdulillah, done. Thank you, viewers, for joining in. I apologize for speaking in very quickly. Inshallah ta'ala, you guys can all benefit from this discussion. This is not about who wins or loses. Inshallah, Brother Aamir, we can have future discussions about such matters, inshallah, in the future. And Sayyid Hassan, thank you.
Jazakallah, brothers, both of you. Thank you very much for taking out the time and enlightening us with regards to this topic area. As Sayyid Ali has said, I'm sure that will agree. It's been interesting, and really we aren't here. It's not a point scoring exercise. We leave it to the audience. You are listening to it, and you can make a conclusion. Did Sayyidah Fatima salamun alayha die angry with Abu Bakr? Yes or no? You've heard the discussion, you've heard the dialogue, you've heard the arguments and counter-arguments. We leave it to you. There's nothing further to say. Remember us in your du'as as we shall remember you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam, everyone. Okay, should we end it now?
Yeah, but that's good, man. That was quite intense. That was very intense, man. There's some interesting things there. But boys, I apologize. I need to give my little ones a lift. So inshallah, I'll catch up with you guys later on, yeah?
All right.
You guys.
Let me stop the
Take care, Hudafis.